9-15, Tipperary in front. Let's go back. Third quarter action. Here's Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. I can tell you that a 6-point deficit is nothing really in hurling. As we look down from the roof of the Sky Dome, and they just look like little flies. I can tell you from our vantage point up here, they look a bit like flies also, because it really is very high up into the roof of the Sky Dome. A magnificent structure, a credit to the engineering and architectural skills of the people involved in building it. We're poised to begin the third quarter here in Toronto, and I noticed that the All-Stars have made a change in their half-back line, and they have brought in Derek Finn from Dublin, and he's come in, I think, in place of Liam Welch at right half-back. Pat Delaney from County Laois ready to start the third quarter. Waiting there in the middle, Joe Hayes and Declan Carr of Tipperary playing in the blue and gold, and they're now playing up into the goal on our left for the start of this third quarter. Ger Hagerty there, a Limerick man, lining up in the middle of the field there along with Michael Coleman. Dermot Healy, the All-Star manager, making a switch in his half-back line, trying to subdue and contain the lively and nippy Tipperary forwards. 6 points the difference. Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions, are the leaders, and the ANP Dominion Canada Cup to be determined. That's Declan Carr, stopped over there by Sean Tracy as Aidan Ryan was trying to make some progress, and the ball ends out over the sideline, and a sideline ball will result in the ball being cut up. Pat McGrath operating back in his own half-back line, even though in Ireland he's probably better known as a forward. That's gone way up, sailing through towards Cormac Bonner. Cormac Bonner trying to make some headway. Jim Cashman trying to hold up his progress. Here's Donny O'Connell letting the ball back, but Sean Tracy is back there, and over there as well Michael Cleary, who had a game high in the first half of 6 points. A fabulous contribution here from the number 12. Sideline ball, and again it's Pat McGrath. Babs Keating there in the background, the Tipperary manager. Theo English is there as well. Donny Nealon isn't out here, but good wishes are sent to Donny Nealon, another member of the Tipperary Triumvirate from all the Tipperary party. Sean Tracy, oh, that's a beautiful cut-up, perhaps the best in the match so far. Conor O'Donovan letting it go by there, and Paul Delaney has picked it up, or rather, it's Noel Sheehy who's picked it up. Ball comes back for the All-Stars. And once again, the Tipperary defenders having to soak up some pressure with Ian O'Ryan now operating at right corner forward, getting the first point of the third quarter. And that's a goal and a point now scored by Ian O'Ryan. He got the first goal of the match after just 4 minutes play. So now a difference of 5 points. And Ian O'Ryan, with nice style, finishing clinically. So confirmation that there's just a 5-point deficit now for the All-Stars. A deficit they certainly have the talent to make up. Now, can Tipperary keep their noses ahead? Michael Cleary unable to contain that pass sent up by Declan Carr. Shane Ahern, I can tell you, is also now in the All-Star forward line. You may catch a glimpse of him. He's wearing a green helmet, operating at right half forward, and today is his birthday. Just 26 years of age today, and so he's, I'm sure, delighted to be playing here. And here he is with the ball coming down his direction. Shane Ahern trying to bustle his way through. His first piece of the action since being introduced by Dermot Healy as a substitute. Joe Cooney, spread eagled and ready to take this free for the All-Stars, and judging it well, just inside the right-hand post. And so the opening 2 points of the second half have been scored by the Bank of Ireland All-Stars. 4 points the margin, and Tipperary yet to get their first score in the third quarter. Ken Hogan has been introduced into goal, I noticed, for Tipperary. Nicky English here, 45 metres out in towards Cormac Bonner, trying to break the ball down for the incoming corner forwards, but it runs loose, however, and it's picked up by John Conran, also introduced as a substitute for the All-Stars. Declan Carr over there. Carr looking for support. Receiving it from Pat McGrath, whipping it in low. Eamon Cleary misjudges. It runs on, and it's stopped by John Commons for the game's first 65, when the defenders put the ball out over their own end line, it results in a free for the opposing team, the attacking team, and they get that free from the 65-metre line, level with the point from which it went out. Aidan Ryan was the one who produced the save. So, from more or less the centre of the playing arena, Michael Cleary trying to add to his points tally and notch Tipperary's first of the third quarter, but he fails to work the oracle on this occasion. Cleary with 6 points. Tipperary's leading scorer, Nicky English, has got a goal and a point, and across on the All-Star team, Ian O'Ryan has also scored a goal and a point. A goal and a point, remember, the equivalent of 4 points, because a goal is equal to 3 points in this game of hurling. Ireland's national game on display in Toronto, Canada. And it's the All-Stars trying to mount another attack in earnest. Shane Fitzgibbon there, the number 13, has switched wings. This is number 10, Ian O'Ryan, playing there against Paul Delaney. Michael Coleman, sideline cut, 20 metres out, and he's just unable to steer it exactly on target. Michael Coleman, a most influential midfield star who plays for County Galway, who've won 2 of the last 3 All-Ireland championships back in Ireland. Sean Tracy clashing over there with Donny O'Connell. O'Connell's stick is broken in the clash. They call it the clash of the ash. Hurley's made from ash, and indeed some of the players are telling me that the sticks have dried up considerably the last couple of days because of the lack of air and moisture on the soil on the ground here, and so they've had to stick them in water overnight just to make sure that they were nice and flexible. John Heffernan's without the stick right now. He can't kick it away. He gets the support, however, by Conor O'Donovan. This is one of the new experimental rules we mentioned earlier, under review at the moment, have been for the entire league season, which commenced in October, as that ball is flicked in by the All-Stars. It breaks out towards Bobby Ryan, last year's influential captain for Tipperary. Now he knows he can't kick it, so he has to wait for a colleague to come in. That's a very controversial rule, that one, and I just wonder whether it's going to be retained within the guideline of the GAA, which is the Gaelic Athletic Association. Under his auspices, these games are being staged. Cormac Bonner advancing menacingly, and another goal, second by Cormac Bonner. The first after 6 minutes of the first half, and the second after 6 minutes of the second half. So the 2-goal Cormac Bonner, with the defence unable to stop him, and he unleashed a pile driver, and John Commons looked on helplessly. So that's quite a reply now. And 7 points of a difference now being opened up by the All-Ireland champions, Tipperary. Well, in 10 weeks' time, Tipperary will be starting the defence of their All-Ireland programme, and they will be meeting the winners of either Limerick or Clare. And they're eagerly preparing for that match just now, as Derek Finn of Dublin and the All-Stars plays it down towards Shane Ahern. Joe Hayes unable to latch onto it, but it runs loose to Conor Stakelum, and again the tall and busy full forward Cormac Bonner causing trouble for the full back line. 7 minutes into the second quarter, 4 quarters of 15 minutes each, and those are the statistics on Conor Stakelum. His brother Richie captained the Tipperary team when they regained the Munster title in 1987. That year they were beaten by Galway in the All-Ireland semi-final. Here come the All-Stars again. Joe Cooney slightly off balance. It breaks down between 2 Tipperary defenders, and it's held up and put over the bar nicely by Ian O'Ryan. Ian O'Ryan now the scorer of a goal and 2 points. So the All-Stars keeping in touch, and it's making for an exciting and potentially very close second half. The puck out by Ken Hogan. Drop down towards Joe Cooney, who's got support from Michael Coleman, his fellow county man from Galway, playing in this All-Star team, crossing the 45-metre line. Paul Delaney went out to try and contain him, but it runs on loose and runs on well for Shane Ahern, and he's miscued, however. The Waterford man who played in last year's Munster final against Tipperary would have loved to have scored against them on that occasion. Well, this is the birthday boy we were telling you about earlier, 26 years of age today, and how he'd love to have celebrated in some style. But plenty of time remaining, another 7 minutes in this quarter. Ken Hogan, who has just recovered from a bout of influenza, and without any wind to assist him here, he still gets plenty of length into his puck out. Breaks down there towards Donny O'Connell, a busy centre forward, they say operating on the 40, because he's roughly 40 metres out from the goal. And that's another snapshot there by Cormac Bonner, which could just about have gone anywhere, but in the event it tailed off about a foot or so to the right of the post. Cormac Bonner has strength and mobility, certainly, and well, has shown tonight once again that he really has the Predator's instinct. That's Paul Delaney batting it down to Joe Hayes, the midfielder, setting up the forwards again. Here's Nicky English letting it run by. There was a call there, I'm sure, by Aidan Ryan to let that one run onto him, but John Conran is back there. John unable to hold Aidan Ryan, trying to set up Cormac Bonner for another score. The goalkeeper, John Collins, comes out, makes a useful save. Takes it with style, gets it out into the centre, running as far as Conor Stakelum. And Stakelum still awaiting his opening point of this match. But Tipperary continuing to lead in the game. And apart from a couple of early worries in the first quarter, they've done well in this match. That was Aidan Ryan trying to set up Cormac Bonner and Michael Cleary, and the goalkeeper snapped in and came in quickly. Back live, there's Ken Hogan making a very useful save, commanding in the situation, but he was hooked as he was playing the ball out, which is the attacker is perfectly entitled to do. You can hook a player as he's trying to hit it. You can also make a frontal challenge on his stick to make sure that he blocks it down, or you can shoulder to shoulder to try and dispossess a player in hurling. Tony O'Sullivan out of luck with his shooting on that occasion. That's Derek Finn, who's now operating in the half-back line for the All-Stars, marking Conor Stakelums. The ball sails from the puck out into the full forward line, in towards Aidan Ryan. Tries to hold on to it. It's Donny O'Connell running loose here. Well, he miscued his shot on that occasion, never got any real authority into the shot. So it's a puck out. The reasons for the four quarters, incidentally, you may have gathered there, that it's rather dry and arid out there, and the players really are experiencing considerable heat. Temperatures here of around 60 degrees. And it was felt as that ball goes in and goes over the bar, and a nice one scored by Brian McMahon, his second one. So Brian McMahon with his second point of the evening's play. I was just about to explain that because it's so hot in here, they opted to have four quarters, and Brian McMahon put that one over to keep the sides well in touch. 5 points between the teams. Tipperary, the All-Ireland champions, ahead. And that's John Conran who's back there, linking up with Derek Finn. Finn, the Dubliner. Getting it out here. That's across towards Brian McMahon. And it goes in nicely. Tony O'Sullivan was the player who was fouled by Pat McGrath just outside the 20-metre line, and there's no question that's going to be a free in. The free conceded there by Pat McGrath. Tony O'Sullivan, who is renowned for his tidy, economical style. He doesn't leave much room normally to be effective, and that ball's gone over the bar. Joe Cooney adding to his tally. That's 3 points he scored this evening. 3 minutes now before the end of the third quarter. Two men in the white coats, I should explain to the Canadian audience watching this on TSN, are the umpires. One raises the green flag when there's a goal, that's equal 3 points, and the other umpire raises the white flag, which equals 1 point. It breaks down to Donny O'Connell on the 40, inside towards Cormac Bonner. Eamon Cleary gets there first on this occasion. Full of determination, he whips it out of his own full back line. Down towards his attack, down towards Shane Ahern. It's brought up by Brian McMahon. Hand pass it beautifully inside, and this is looking good. And that's a great goal! Ian O'Ryan with his second goal of the match. 2 goals and 2 points now for Ian O'Ryan. So we have two goal heroes, and that comes 12 minutes into the third quarter. Receiving the pass beautifully from Brian McMahon, and he whipped it in past Ken Hogan. So the All-Stars very much back in the hunt here. Just a point between the teams, and of course, a quarter of this match still to come. So the game really has turned around. I think the players were all a little bit tentative in the opening half, playing on this surface, but they've settled down well now, and it's score for score. But this particular shot by Donny O'Connell, or by Joe Hayes rather, failing to produce another Tipperary score. Well, Ian O'Ryan certainly is the hero from the All-Star point of view, with his 2 goals and 2 points in the opening 3 quarters. Declan Carr here at midfield. whipping it downfield, but unable to keep the ball in play. Well, it's a match which we hope you're enjoying, bringing to you live from the magnificent Sky Dome in Toronto this evening, as Ian O'Ryan goes back to await the return of the ball into play as soon as Derek Finn has cut it up. Driven deep, Joe Hayes trying to hold on to it. It's Conor O'Donovan. On towards Cormac Bonner. Breaks back well. A nice looking shot. Stopped, however, despite the best intentions of Michael Cleary. Stopped by John Commons on the goal line. And he gets away a good clearance. Conor O'Donovan challenging. Conor O'Donovan winning, the Tipperary fullback who was brought into this match after the first quarter to add a bit of solidity to the full back line, and he's done exactly that. Sideline ball across on the far side. Sean Tracy, and he's received a nick over the eyes there, you see, from loose play. It's all part of the battle scars, and they just get on with the job. Tipperary, by the way, may be marginally confused at times because there are two players, I think, wearing a number 17 shirt out there. There's Joe Hayes and Donny O'Connell. This is John Kennedy. On his left-hand side, in towards Cormac Bonner. It runs loose, and here comes English. Oh, dispossessed brilliantly. Smartly taken away from him by Aidan Fogarty, with Nicky English breathing down the neck of the goalkeeper practically. Keep your eye on the number 2 here. With keen anticipation, he whipped it across with magnificent skill, and that's a 65. Well, defenders have a hard time at times in a surface such as this, which is so fast, and they're attuning to it the whole time. But full credit to Aidan Fogarty for keeping his side very much in the match. Well, the anti-glare under the eyes of Declan Carr just beginning to wear off because of the perspiration, as Paul Delaney takes the 65, the second of the match, and that one trails away harmlessly wide. We're in injury time at the end of the third quarter. Just a point between the teams. Beautifully poised to make for an exciting fourth quarter. We're certainly looking forward to it. There's just a point between the teams.
Very close game here at the Sky Dome. The score is Tipperary 18, the All-Stars 17. We'll return to more live coverage from the Sky Dome in just a moment. We welcome back our viewers live from Ireland and from across Canada, watching in on TSN and on the Irish network RTE. You are watching the St. Patrick's Day games live from the Sky Dome in Toronto. The score is Tipperary 18, the Irish All-Stars 17. We're heading up for fourth quarter action. Here's Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Perhaps one of the most telling statistics about that third quarter is that Tipperary scored just one score, and that was the vital goal there by Cormac Bonner. And meanwhile, the All-Stars have made a lot of headway. Just a point between them. Joe Hayes poised, ready and waiting, and the fourth quarter is underway. 3-9 to 3-8, Tipperary the leaders by just a point. 15 minutes to go. That's Brian McMahon playing it upfield. And it's just gone over the bar. Yes, it's gone over the bar. And that's a point which is put over the bar by Mark Corrigan, who's just been introduced as a substitute. A lot of substitutes coming in. Brian McMahon picked that one in, and Mark Corrigan, the Offaly man, wearing number 6, his squad number, put it over the bar. So the sides tied up. 3-9 to 3-9, beautifully balanced. And we hope our Canadian audience watching on TSN Live are enjoying this exposure of the game of hurling. Nicky English, the scorer of a goal and a point in this match, and they were early in the game. His goal after 6 minutes of the second quarter. Michael Cleary now with this free to edge Tipperary ahead once again, and he avails of the opportunity to notch up his 7th point of the evening. So Tip ahead once more, 3-10 to 3-9. Early stages in the fourth quarter. Joe Cooney racing across there for possession with Conor O'Donovan. Conor O'Donovan going back, trying to get goal side of the defender. That's Shane Ahern. At the second attempt, getting it in towards the forwards, but it's held beautifully, contained nicely by Noel Sheehy. Out into the middle to Joe Hayes. Up towards Nicky English there with Aidan Fogarty. Fogarty's a good defender, but he's beaten on this occasion as English latched onto it. John Conran clears his lines out of defence, out into the middle. Michael Coleman whipping it forward. Up it goes. And here's Brian McMahon once again. Looking to enjoy parity once more for the All-Stars, but not on this occasion. In terms of wides, that's the 11th wide the All-Stars have had, and Tipperary on 13 wides for the match. Their managers won't be entirely pleased with that particular scoreline, but it's a very humid surface upon which they're playing down there, a humid evening. A little push that time, which the referee didn't notice, but it breaks down to Declan Carr of Tipperary, trying to go by Derek Finn, and there's the snapshot delivered. And delivered on target by Tipperary's number 10. That looks like John Lahey. John Lahey was not expected to play, but here he is wearing the blue helmet on the number 10, his first point. John Lahey from Mullinahone in County Tipperary, a young player from whom much is expected in senior hurling in the years to come. That ball driven forward menacingly by Tony O'Sullivan to create some havoc for Ken Hogan in his defence, but they cope with it admirably. So a 2-point difference. Tipperary the leaders at this stage. Plenty of time remaining. On my watch, about 12 minutes. Brian McMahon, the taker of the sideline ball. It breaks into the centre towards Joe Hayes, one of the two 17s. Sideline ball once again. The game of hurling, by the way, I should tell our friends on TSN, dates back centuries in Ireland. In fact, legend has it that Cú Cullen, the great warrior in times past, played the game. By the way, there's a sister game to hurling in Ireland as well. It's camogie, played 12-a-side by girls over a slightly smaller pitch, and great skill as well displayed. Sean Tracy on that occasion let the ball go by to Paul Delaney, stood his ground well. And Donny O'Connell at centre forward, carrying the ball forward, operating more as a wing forward just now, trying to set a ball inside towards Cormac Bonner. Cormac Bonner with Nicky English, stopped by the goalkeeper John Commons, out to English again. Well, he's looking like he's meaning business, and he's put it over the bar. He hasn't had too many opportunities to shine, but from that he's got another point. That's a goal and 2 points now for Nicky English. Just reaffirming the boot there. Just watch, he was beaten the first time, got the ball back, and with great determination and fine skill, he watches it went over. So back with the action, Cormac Bonner. And here comes John Commons out from his goal, dispossessed by John Lahey, runs on to Nicky English, who pokes it in and gets a second goal. And that's what makes him such a special player. Well, he can hardly believe the gift that was presented to him, and he's now got 2 goals and 2 points. Watch as John Commons came out, beaten by Lahey initially, and ricocheted away, came down, and English put it in over the goalkeeper, who looked on despairingly. So now, how's that for a gap? A 6-point difference now for Tipperary, and one wonders whether the All-Stars now can summon up the necessary resolve to come back into this match with a full 10 minutes still to play. Paul Delaney trying to go by Derek Finn, who gets out of his way. John Lahey is poised and ready to take a sideline ball. Well, English really is one of the great folk heroes in hurling, a very modest young man, and he certainly has a fabulous future. Well, he's had a fabulous past as well, because this year alone he was again nominated as an All-Star, the 6th time on which he has won that accolade, and he won his first All-Ireland medal. Tipperary fans watching this match tonight will be hoping that he can lead them to yet another. Brian McMahon there of Dublin, hoping that Dublin can enjoy some success in inter-county hurling in the championship this season. They're doing well so far, and Irish eyes smiling all over the place in this magnificent Sky Dome. Ken Hogan's puck out. Dropping it down towards John Lahey. Ball breaking out to Nicky English again, looking at the posts in towards Cormac Bonner. Again challenging there with the full-back, it breaks loose, and despite the best efforts of Michael Cleary, he's unable to provide the additional score that Tipperary would like, just to keep their noses fairly firmly ahead and have plenty of daylight between themselves and the opposition, the Bank of Ireland All-Stars. That's Declan Carr, and he went forward with ferocious determination to notch his first point of the evening. 6 minutes into the final quarter. So now one wonders whether the Bank of Ireland All-Star will start to try and add to their goals tally. 3 goals so far they've scored against Tipperary's 4, and a goal equals to 3 points, and that's Brian McMahon, who's not too pleased with the referee's decision. It results in a free for Tipperary. Cormac Bonner just got out of shot there with the helmet. Some of the players wear helmets, some do not, some find them comfortable, some do not. They're basically the same as the ice hockey helmets that you see here on TSN in live ice hockey matches. There's Paul Delaney. And Ken Hogan has come from his goal to take the free, renowned as a lengthy hitter, and it's also wasted a couple of seconds, and here's John Lahey with another Tipperary goal. Well, he's just into the match, and now Lahey has got himself a goal and a point. Well, that's some contribution from a sub as it broke down. The entire defence sucked away, bar the defender on the left, and Lahey found the space there, and he provided Tip with another fine goal. Well, we've seen a lot of defensive errors tonight, it has to be said, but the forwards at least have snapped at the chances and said thank you very much indeed. Here's Cormac Bonner once again. Again trying to link up with John Lahey. John Commons of Galway, and the All-Star goalkeeper, comes out, sends it out to Sean Tracy. The clearance by Tracy out towards Ger Hegarty. And in quickly went Declan Carr, or Bobby Ryan rather. Across now towards Brian McMahon. John Kennedy trying to get in a telling challenge, but it's still Brian McMahon with a good solo run. Now can he deliver the pass inside? He can to Joe Cooney. It comes back off Conor O'Donovan, and they're waiting and expecting it to come his way with Pat McGrath of Tipperary, and he sends it out of defence. The All-Stars regrouping well. That was John Conran out towards Michael Coleman, the midfielder, dodging round Michael Cleary's would-be challenge. Trying to link up with the corner forwards, and that's a good dummy and a nice turn by Mark Corrigan, and Corrigan unable to steer his shot exactly on target as he would have wished. He had a magnificent contribution in last year's Leinster final, Leinster, the eastern province in Ireland. Declan Ryan there, one of the injured players of Tipperary, unable to take his place tonight. Had he been fit and available to play, you can be sure he would have been put in. And the referee just holding up the play because a change has been made, and Conor Stakelum is about to become withdrawn, and Aidan Ryan is about to come on. Well, for the second time in the match, because he was in, of course, at the very start of the play. Just taking out the gum shield to make sure that the other forwards can hear his instructions as issued by the coach, Babs Keating. We've got 6 minutes remaining in this clash for the ANP Dominion Canada Cup, and that is Joe Hayes, and Joe Hayes can't get the shot exactly as he would have wished. Still to score tonight, mind you, his colleague Declan Carr did manage to get into the scoring stakes, and Eamon Cleary there experiencing extreme heat, because these are the conditions the players are having to contend with. That's a lovely move forward there by Shane Ahern. Nice solo run. Now can he finish? He's stopped, however. It breaks out. Well hooked, and it's Mark Corrigan who sends it out towards Joe Cooney. The Tipperary defenders grouping well, trying to hold out the forwards, and they did their job well on that occasion. This is Michael Coleman as the ball came back out to him. But again, he really had a glorious opportunity, and that's 14 wides in all. The Bank of Ireland All-Stars have shot by this evening. 5 minutes to go. Ken Hogan's Tipperary enjoying a good lead. So the All-Stars will be hoping to get themselves some late goals as we watch Tony O'Sullivan back around his own half-back line, deliver the pass forward, but without a great deal of direction. Well, I think he felt on that occasion the best thing to do was to provide the play of the ball into the forwards, but a 10-point deficit to be pulled back by the All-Stars, 5-13 to 3-9. Eamon Cleary over there challenging with Cormac Bonner, who moved away from the full forward line, and it breaks down to Jim Cashman. Cashman in towards the half forward line. That comes out to Joe Cooney, and Ryan was there as well. There's support by Tony O'Sullivan, who broke forward from the half-back line. O'Sullivan with a snapshot, and O'Sullivan with another nice point. Tony O'Sullivan's second point of the evening, keeping the All-Stars in touch, but now they need some very fast goals to win the A&P Dominion Canada Cup in this the inaugural playing of it here in the Sky Dome. There's the position, and it's Nicky English again. Well, he's content with a point. I think had the issue been a little bit tighter, he might well have gone for a goal that time, but he's built up his own personal tally of 2 goals and 3 points now. That's a good return. Here's John Commons, an all-star goalkeeper. John Kennedy breaks it down to Joe Hayes. Michael Coleman lets it go by, and there are 2 all-star players waiting for it here, Sean Tracy and John Conran. They'll be anxious to take it fairly quickly, I imagine, with time running out for them. There are just 3 minutes remaining, and there's a difference of some 10 points. So the bloodstained Sean Tracy plays it into the centre. Sideline ball for Tipperary. Big Tipperary contingent has gathered here at the Sky Dome to watch this match. Lots of Tipperary fans coming here from all over North America to see the All-Ireland champions. Paul Delaney here has just returned from a suspension which was recently lifted. So Tipperary making slow but steady headway down the left-hand side of the field. Just about 2.5 minutes to go. Ball was put back in by Paul Delaney. And standing there, number 17, Ger Hagerty, to knock it forward to the forwards, Joe Cooney. Cooney has scored 3 points in this match, getting in there to Ian Ryan, himself the scorer of a handsome total, dispossessed by John Kennedy. Kennedy out towards Aidan Ryan. He kicks it forward. Well, he kicked it, and he's not allowed to do so, and Pat Delaney was right beside him. Ian Ryan, I was mentioning there, with his good total tonight for the All-Stars. He's on 2 goals and 2 points. Meanwhile, Michael Coleman setting it into Joe Cooney, trying to link up with Ger Hagerty. The pass deceives him, however. And Tony O'Sullivan is held up over there by Pat McGrath, and it's going to be a free-in for the All-Stars. Will they opt to tap it in front of the goal and try and get a goal? They have nothing to lose at this stage. Tony O'Sullivan with a quick consultation, and in fact it looks like Ger Hagerty who drove it in. It was indeed. Comes out to Joe Cooney, who possesses a ferocious shot, but it's well blocked down. And finally it's Noel Sheehy clearing his lines out into the centre of the field, out towards Nicky English, who's got into the middle to try and get some space, which is a little unusual because there's very little space available down there. That's John Conran hand passing it away in towards Derek Finn, and Ger Hagerty was the one who left it behind him to Bobby Ryan, and that's Donny O'Connell from way out the field, but not with the finish that he would have wished to see. We've just got about 30 seconds remaining. 29 points. And right at the very end, a point, and it's put over the bar well by Mark Corrigan. Mark Corrigan's first point since coming on for the 4th quarter. Well, it keeps the Bank of Ireland just about in touch. Their all-star team, but at this stage it looks like being far too little, far too late. 29 points to 19, a 10-point difference. Nicky English is happy to see that one sail over the bar. He's got 2 goals and 4 points. Michael Cleary finishes with 7 points, and Cormac Bonner got himself 2 goals in the evening. And they'll be all very, very pleased indeed. Babs Keating, the coach, was joking yesterday that if they win, they want to come back and defend the cup next year. Well, of course, to do that, they would first of all have to win the All-Ireland title. Well, organisationally, it was a fine success. The players responded, tipped with a greater understanding and the greater number of scores, take the A&P Cup That will be going back to Ireland as Pat Delaney terminates the match, and it's Tipperary who are the victors, winning in the end by 10 points, and the crowd at the Sky Dome enjoyed the hurling.
We'll return with more of the St. Patrick's Day games live from the Sky Dome right after this.
How to choose a bank, Part 1.
Tell me, how big are your assets?
My bank's got billions. Trillions. Zillions.
At Cork and Limerick, we've got more than enough.
You've all got checkbook accounts, cash cards, savings accounts.
Certainly. Absolutely. Positively.
We pay higher interest.
And personal loans?
How much? How long? What for?
No bother.
Your charges, are they?
The same as his. Bit more, actually.
Bit less, actually.
How about...
Opening hours?
Goodness. Is it that time already?
Lunchtimes, late evenings, all in a day's work.
Civilized banking from Cork and Limerick Savings Bank.
Next time you buy a hand lotion, treat yourself to a manicure. New hand and nail formula from Vaseline Intensive Care.
More and more people will talk to you in Irish. Mashin, Ca an Fáinne.
The score, the final score of this hurling matchup, Tipperary winning over the All-Stars from Ireland 30-20. Now let's go downstairs to our presentation of the trophy.
It is a magnificent trophy to be taking back across the Atlantic, and that is going to be the pleasure of the Tipperary team and their captain in particular, John Kennedy. Kennedy, who led by example, moved into the centre fairly early on in the match and contained Joe Cooney and kept him to just 3 points in the game. But I felt all through that the greater understanding came from Tipperary once they settled down, and they're very, very pleased indeed. There's Michael Cleary in the background, who scored a total of 7 points. But coming up onto the podium now, it's John Kennedy, Brian Farmer there in the background of the Canadian GAA, and John Dunn of A&P, whose brainchild this was to bring the games here.
To the captain of the Tipperary team, and the winners of the St. Patrick's Day hurling game, John Kennedy.
So John Dunn makes the presentation. It's a big, big trophy. It goes with the All-Ireland trophy won by Tipperary last September. And here in the Sky Dome, John Kennedy, a very delighted captain.
On behalf of Power Screen of Canada, I would like to congratulate Captain John Kennedy and the Tipperary team on a fine game and a great victory. And I now present John with this gold ring. Congratulations, John.
Each member of the Tipperary team will receive a ring generously donated by Power Screen of Canada Limited in commemoration of their victory here this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Tipperary team, I'd just like to thank A&P, Dominion, and the Canadian board, and everybody else who helped in this occasion. We enjoyed ourselves very much. We hope to be back again. Thank you.
What a finish to the game. The final score again, 30-20. It was Tipperary defeating the Irish All-Stars. No introduction needed for this gentleman across Canada, but for our Ireland viewers, this is Wendell Clark of the Toronto Maple Leafs. More or less the Nick English, we'll say, of hockey. Wendell, what do you think of the game?
Well, it's pretty exciting. The first time I've ever seen the game being played, and it looks like it takes a lot of coordination and ability with the players to be running and hitting the ball and trying to put it through the uprights or in the goal.
You're out with an injury right now, but say once the injury is gone, would you even consider picking up a hurley and heading out?
Well, I think I'd be out there by myself first, trying to hit the ball rather than get out there and mix it up with these guys. They look like they know what they're doing.
You were telling me before that you noticed only one player out there wearing a helmet with a full mask, and he was the toughest, too.
Well, I think he's a little more brave out there than everybody else. He's got a face mask on. He doesn't have to worry about getting hit in the face like all the other players did.
Have you been enjoying the St. Patrick's Day weekend?
It's been great. Too bad we didn't get the win last night, but if we can go on and finish the year strong, we'll be happy with it.
Well, Wendell, we hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon here at the Sky Dome, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll return to the Sky Dome and more in just a moment.
Super occasion. People really enjoyed themselves here all this weekend. It was a very well organised event. Full credit to the Canadian board and the local GA authorities for organising that. Congratulations to Tipperary. We're about to go back to work now very shortly to record the Dublin-Tyrone match, and we'll be showing you a recording of that in Sports Stadium next weekend on Saturday. Meanwhile, I hope you've had a fabulous St. Patrick's weekend. From all of us in the Sky Dome in Toronto, a very good night to you all. Bye-bye.